Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fatu
Hello,
Network News
welcome
Review
to
today,
another
6th
edition of the
November
Fatu Network
2018.
News Review today.
I am Omar Wali.
23rd of April 2019. My name is Omar Wali. The President, Adama Barrow, said he may go unopposed in 2021 if he is able to implement or execute all the NDP plans, and Mama Kande breaks silence. A motorcyclist killed by a speeding car, and Gambia makes a significant progress in press freedom. That is on the Standard, and the Point also is reporting that Barrow to run for 2021 presidency under the NRP ticket. The Gambia Point also is reporting that Gambia makes significant progress in the press freedom. And we also have a story there where police arrest a Marabu who confessed to the killing in Talinding. And on the progress of the press freedom in the country, we spoke to the president of the Gambia Press Union, Sheriff Boyan Jr. We'll have that here. But before all that, I will start with the Standard, and I may go up unopposed in 2020 if, that is, President Adama Barrow has said that he is confident that he may even go unopposed in the 2021 presidential election if he is able to achieve all his development aspirations outlined in the National Development Plan, the NDP. Addressing supporters at Sarabojo village over the weekend, Barrow again said whoever wants to be president must wait until 2021. There can only be one president, and there is one person in the Gambia, people elected, and there is no other way or shortcut to State House. And I'm confident that if I achieve all my development plans, I will go unopposed in 2021, President Barrow told his supporters at Sarabojo village. He went on and said, I believe the only solution to our problem is work. There is a lot of goodwill towards Gambia, but we can only achieve our dreams if we speak with one language, especially the young people, he told his jubilant supporters. President Barrow said his administration is focused on achieving the development plans stipulated in the NDP, and he again warned that people who are not in the agreement with his development agenda should leave his boss, or else they will be dropped off. He continued, I want to call on Gambians to continue working hard for the interests of this country. And I also want to encourage the civil servants to do well, to do all they can to help the government succeed. As the driver, the civil service cannot afford to fail. President Barrow also promised that anything that comes into this country in the name of Gambia will be utilized judiciously. I want to say this. I want to say that for my term, I want to say that after my term as president, if Gambia does not owe me, I will not owe Gambia, and I will not owe the country. And whenever my term ends, I will request for an investigation into how I spend those monies. And if I am found guilty or found wanting, they can take me to mile 2, Barrow said. Kande break silence after a long absence from holding public meetings. The leader of the Gambia Democratic Congress, Mama Kande, has returned. He challenged the governing coalition partners to be accountable and transparent to Gambian people. They must not disappoint the Gambians, because when they were forming the coalition, they promised the electorate that Barrow will step down after 3 years. And I want to challenge them to come out and tell Gambians that they have agreed on. He told a well-attended political rally in Brikama that was on Saturday. Kande said there is too much confusion, because while Barrow is telling people he is not going to step down, others are saying he should. I have never thought Barrow was going to think of forming his own political party, and I'm very confident if he made it clear from the start that he was not going to step down, people like Khalifa Saleh would not have supported his candidature, Kande said. He added that, I believe we should be very careful about any decision we may have taken in the next presidential election, especially in the case of Barrow. As far as I am concerned, there is nothing Barrow can do or Barrow has done in this country that will warrant Gambians to vote for him, Mama Kande told his supporters in Brikama over the weekend. And Gambia makes significant progress in the press freedom. The Gambia has registered a remarkable progress in press freedom, climbing up to 30 places from the previous years, according to Reporters Without Borders. And in 2017, the Gambia was ranked 122 in the world and 34 in Africa. And in the latest ranking in 2018, the Gambia rose up from 122 to 92, and in the world from 34 to 9 in Africa. The French-based Reporters Without Borders, which promotes and defends press freedom, attributes the jump to the change of government under which human rights climate in the country has greatly improved. It is said Gambia's 92nd has jumped to 30 places, confirming promising evaluation seen after dictator Yahya Jammeh's departure. The new media outlets have been created, journalists have returned from self-imposed exile, and the criminalization of the defamation has been declared unconstitutional. And the motorcyclist killed by a speeding car, a 36-year-old was killed on a motorbike. A 36-year-old man was killed on a motorcycle as he rode with his brother at Chamen village Friday. Buba saw a victim left his brother to Keringate when the van reportedly knocked them. They were both taken to Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, where Buba was confirmed dead, but his brother survived with a grave trauma. The driver of the vehicle is said to be detained at Ndungu Kebe police station. And that's all we have for you on the Point news, on the Standard newspaper, and on the Point. Barrow to run for 2021 presidency on the NRP ticket, says Hamad Ba. The leader of the National Reconciliation Party has stated that President Adama Barrow can contest the much anticipated presidential election in 2021 on the NRP ticket. Hamad Ba was speaking at Sarabojo village, Jimara district of Upper River region, during a rally attended by thousands of Barrow supporters. Barrow will stay in office for 5 years, and he will be presidential candidate for National NRP in the 2021 election, he said, while underlining the unprecedented development the country has registered under the leadership of President Adama Barrow, and there was no immediate reaction from Barrow regarding the offer. However, what is clear that Barrow has fallen out with his former party, the United Democratic Party, where he previously served as a treasurer. If you are a civil servant working in the government and you don't want Adama Barrow, you should resign, Mr. Bawon. I have worked with him and I know he is a real Democrat. Anything that has passed before in the country will be treated fairly and honestly and sincerely. Mr. Ba said anyone who has intention to destabilize the country will face the full force of the law. We have to stand firm and work towards national development. The boss is standing, and whoever is not working will be offloaded. And my Ahmed Fati, who is a President Barrow special advisor, recalled that Gambia's severe ties with many countries during the former President Yahya Jammeh's 22-year rule regime. When Barrow was elected, he said we have to deepen our relations with other countries around the world, and that about $65 million have been spent in that rescue, in that crusade rather. The Minister of Interior, Ibrahim Mbalo, said plans are at advanced stage to decentralize ID cards countrywide, saying no one will be denied the ID card based on tribal issues. The newly appointed Minister of Agriculture, Ami Fabre, said a government is committed to improving the welfare of farmers, acknowledging that the rice that is grown in the country can feed the entire Gambia. And the Point is also reporting that Kande urged coalition members to clear the air over the 3 years agreement. They're also reporting that the country has made significant progress in the press freedom. That's all we have for you on the papers today. I will now turn to a story that the Gambia Police Force on Tuesday held a press briefing where they announced the arrest of a Marabu Babukar Jallo, who they said has confessed to killing of Mam Barrow of Talinding. The incident is said to have happened on Monday on the 10th in Banjulunding. More details in this report.
Basically today, just to go into the briefs as to what we have is a situation that has to do with a report that one officer of the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority made a report on the 18th of April 2019 at the New Yundum police station about something that he saw, and that is, according to his report, he saw a decomposed dead body of a human being that has been mutilated and put in 3 separate bags. And because of this, he immediately went to the police station at New Yundum and reported to the police about what he saw. And the police didn't waste any time. They left immediately to the scene to confirm, and then they really confirmed and took this body, which was recovered from the scene, and sent to the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital mortuary for further examination. We also, bearing in mind the fact that when this report came, the Gambia Police Force, keeping its record, had understood that a case was reported at Talinding Police Station, where somebody by the name Bintu Barrow had reported that their sister, Mama Barrow, had been missing since on the 10th of March, and he was never seen since then. And the police was able to connect the dots and expanded on the investigation. And then when they expanded the investigation, questions were raised, and then the family was able to tell that most of the time, or oftentimes, when Mama goes out, she usually visits a Marabu by the name Bubakar Jallo, who resides at Banjulindi. And even though they may not be sure if she was out to visit this Marabu, but they believe that oftentimes when she's out, she usually visits this Marabu. And then time went on, the police continued intensifying their search. They continued searching until they were able to understand that this suspect by the name, this Marabu Bubakar Jallo, is hiding somewhere. And the body that was recovered has got something to do with the report that was done at Banjul. And efforts were made with the little resources the Gambia Police Force has, but yet they put in a lot of human resources and efforts into this to ensure that they get to the bottom of this situation. And this has led to the arrest of this Marabu Bubakar Jallo, who was in hiding at Batakungu. He was hiding in Batakungu, but because of the efforts of the police, the police was able to get him at where he is, and he was arrested. And when he was arrested, he was taken to a series of interviews as to the connection between the dead body that was found and the fact that a lady had been visiting him from time to time, and they were able to establish what his knowledge or what his level of involvement was in this whole situation. And then it was found out that the investigations revealed that this guy, the Marabu Bubakar Jallo, had told the whole story to the police as to how his dealing with Mama Barrow came about up to the point of these incidents that we are here sitting over today. We came to understand from Bubakar Jallo that Mama, of course, is true, as the family had put, that she usually visits him anytime he sees out, and that he was able to confirm that Mama came to his house on the 10th of March, as stated before. And what happened was, when Mama visited him at his house, already there was an issue of monetary transactions. Some cash transactions were in between him and Mama, and because of this, he was kind of, it was like Mama was owing him some money up to an amount of $150,000. And this $150,000 was what he was requesting from Mama at the time. But it happens that Mama was, in his own opinion, Mama was not giving him sufficient explanation as to the whereabouts of this cash amount of $150,000. And then a fight ensued in between him and Mama, where he hit Mama on the head, somewhere on the back of the head, and then she fell down. And according to him, when she fell down, knowing that Mama is somebody with a hefty build, he decided to jump on her while she fell down on the ground and hold on her neck and throat. And then the pressure and all of that resulted to Mama suffocating and dying as a result of the handling that he was doing of her neck on the ground. When the lady died, eventually she was like left with no option as to what to do about the body. And in this situation, something clicked on, and that is he was having a knife at hand in the room, and then some wild imaginations came up, which resulted him taking this knife, mutilating the body, cutting it into pieces, for the purpose of being able to dispose it conveniently. And this he did by putting some part of the body in one sack and some other parts in the other sack, and the third sack the other part of the remaining body. And then he hired a taxi, and then with this taxi he was able to go to the airport dumping site where he disposed of the body and went his way into hiding. The police were able to investigate this situation until they were able to get to the bottom of the matter, until the Marabu Boubacar Jallow explained all this scenario to the Gambia Police Force over the weekend. This whole thing happened over this past weekend. And as we speak right now, Boubacar Jallow has been charged with murder contrary to Section 187 of the Criminal Code laws of the Gambia. And we'll probably give you an opportunity to see him after this briefing here. But one thing we want to spell out in this investigation, which is very crucial, is the role of the general public in the unveiling of what has happened as far as this case is concerned. We want to commend the effort of a taxi driver whose name we will go on public with, Lamin Marok. He's a taxi driver who played a crucial role, because the first thing that happens when the Marabu wanted to dispose of the body, he called this taxi driver and said, "Come and help. I have a charity that I am giving, and this charity is in the form of meat, but it's not supposed to be eaten by anybody. I have already done all the rituals that I have to do, and now what I'm about to do is just to throw the body away because it's not of any use to people. I have already taken it through all the rituals that I wanted to." So the guy came and then realized the body language, the gestures, and all the suspicion that he was going through really doesn't tell well about him. And more so, he even told him that when we are going to throw this body, I don't want you to pass through any checkpoint, any police or security checkpoint. I want you to take me through on a road that will be able to avoid all the checkpoints so we can go and dispose the body. So the taxi driver, that ring an alarm in the taxi driver, and he's like, "Okay, no problem. Just give me a call and then I will come over and do this for you." But immediately he did that, he went straight to the police station at Farado and made a report citing all the telephone numbers and all the details of the Marabuma. This really was very crucial in this investigation, because when the police put the bits and pieces together with all the efforts and the human efforts that they were doing, this thing really helped in connecting the dots and enabling the police arrest this individual and get to the bottom. So we definitely congratulate and definitely commend the efforts of this taxi driver and urge all the other taxi drivers that are applying the rule to be patriotic to this extent. Anytime something happens like this, they should be able to report to the general public.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
That was the police spokesperson there, Lamin Jai, speaking to journalists earlier on. And the Gambia has makes significant progress in press freedom, according to Reporters Without Borders. The Gambia has registered a remarkable progress in press freedom, climbing up to 30 places from the previous years in Reporters Without Borders Index worldwide ranking, regrouping according to Reporters Without Borders. In 2017, the Gambia was ranked 22 in the world and 34 in Africa. And the latest ranking in 2018, the Gambia rose from 122 to 92 and in the world from 34 to 9 in Africa. And Omar P. Jallow spoke to Seri Bojang Jr., the president of the Gambia Press Union. Let's take a listen.
Bojang, according to the recently concluded RSF index report in Dakar, Senegal, the Gambia actually has registered remarkable progress in terms of press freedom, climbing up to 30 places. According to the report, in 2017, the Gambia was ranked 122 in the world and 34 in Africa. And in 2018, a year later, it rose to 90 in the world, 92 in the world, and 9 in Africa. What does the Gambia Press Union made of this report, and what would you attribute this achievement to?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think as a union, the RSF report, this is very encouraging for Gambia first as a country, but for the Gambian journalists and Gambia Press Union as a fraternity. This goes to support and complement what journalists collectively have been doing in this country during the time of Jammeh and since the change of regime. That is fighting for the rights of journalists, fighting for the promotion of freedom of expression, free speech, and the work of journalists. What I attribute this to, I think personally I'm not surprised that Gambia jumped this much in this RSF report, because if you look at it, since the change of government, since the change of regime in the country, a lot of things have been going our way, in consideration of where we came from as a country, as professionals, and as a fraternity. 3.5 years ago, even this interview would have been impossible, because people holding microphone just, in public, going around interviewing people, it was considered suicidal. There was a lot of self-censorship. So many journalists bore the brunt of dictatorship. People were harassed, people were tortured, people were incarcerated, held incommunicado. Some people lost their lives. A lot of Gambian journalists fled into exile, myself included. But since the change of regime, first of all, we've seen that people who were in exile, Gambian journalists, returned to the country, in large numbers, from Europe, from other parts of Africa, from America, from all over the world. We've seen the rise of new media outlets in the country. I will even say proliferation. A lot of radio stations, some newspapers came up, online media. This is all possible thanks to the freedom that exists in the country since the change of regime. We've also seen some improvement when it comes to some media laws, some draconian laws that were inimical to the work of journalists in the past. So this all put together, explains why Gambia moved this much in this RSF index. And I think this is a positive thing for the country, and this is something as a media fraternity that we would want to enjoy. However, it doesn't mean that the Gambia has reached where it is supposed to, and it doesn't mean that all is well. We've seen still there are some laws that the Gambian journalists, that the Gambia Press Union, on behalf of Gambian journalists, is still fighting for. When it comes to freedom of information, the FOI, law, that is still something that we are fighting for, so that there can be a Freedom of Information Act, and that will give broader, opportunity to Gambian journalists to access information easily, to treat information and to disseminate information for public consumption and for public good. So those things are there. A lot of things to celebrate, but the fight still continues to make sure that we are free, and we are freer than we are.
The director for Africa also informed that plans are in the pipeline for the Gambia to host the next World Press Free ranking come next year. Is the Gambia prepared to host, and can it host it?
Yeah, Gambia can host it. I think that will be more of record because RSF and its stakeholders are not going to hold this at a country or in a country where, you know, the rights to freedom of expression and freedom of the media and press freedom are flouted. They would, during the Jammeh era, they wouldn't think about bringing it to the Gambia. But I think the fact that they contemplating or planning to bring it to the Gambia goes to suggest that Gambia is on the right path. Everybody involved, the government or the stakeholders, the media, journalists, everybody involved, because this is a result, what we're enjoying today is a result of years, 2 decades of fight. It doesn't just start, okay, change of regime and, you know, you deserve freedom, here is your freedom. No. It came from 2 decades of fight and struggle. Some people paid the ultimate price, the likes of Daida Haidara, may God bless his soul, the likes of Chief Mane. Some people were tortured, the likes of Lamin Fati, the likes of Musa Sedikan, and a lot of people, you know, banished from the country. So this all explains why, you know, we end up having this freedom. And the fact that RSF is planning to bring this to the Gambia, I think that is a good thing. Gambia is ready because in terms of, you know, the modalities in place, in terms of the space for journalists to operate, I think that is encouraging, and this is what is going to lure them into bringing it. So I think this will put a lot of pressure on all stakeholders in the Gambia, because from now against next year, anything is possible. We are approaching the election. We're going closer and closer to the election when politicians, a lot of things are at stake, laws are changed because everybody wants to win elections. So this is when we have to be cautious, and anything that goes wrong, if we have any setback and these gains are lost, then I think that will put it very difficult. That will make it very difficult for RSF to bring this event to the Gambia. But I think Gambia, the records are there, the records are clear, we are on the right path, and we're going to keep on fighting, you know, until other issues that are pending are there. And also we will not be complacent, so that because gains are made, there are gains at the moment, but oftentimes those gains are lost. And we wouldn't want those gains to be lost. That's why we will keep on engaging all stakeholders in fighting, you know, in putting pressure in terms of discussions, in terms of you know, negotiations where negotiations are due, because sometimes you have to negotiate. That is part of unionism, and then things like that. But then, yeah, we hopeful that this will put the Gambia on even a broader international map, and it's in the interest of every Gambian that this is held in the Gambia, because it's going to sell the country further to the outside world. And then, you know, we've suffered so much over the past, you know, during the regime of Jammeh. It's now time to turn that suffering into progress and prosperity. And this is not just about journalists, it's about everybody in the whole world. I think this is what makes our job beautiful. You know, nothing that we do is for us, because when we gather information, treat information, and disseminate information, the consumers are not us. The consumers are the Gambian public. If there is to be a media blackout in this country, I think the citizens would not want that. So it's in the interest of the country that we maintain the gains that are already made, and we improve, and no setback.
92 in the world, 9 in Africa. Is it possible for Gambia to be on top in Africa, if not the world?
It is possible, because if you look at where we were, and even forget about the figures, forget about the statistics, putting human face to it. Before you mentioned Gambia, journalists, you go everywhere. People, Gambian journalists, went all over the world for seminars, for conferences, for, you know, whatever. People will always ask you, are you safe? Why don't you stay? Are you going to go back? Because of this fear, you know, because of what existed in the country. Today, you know, the pace is already set. We are here. I think it is up to Gambia, it is up to the government and every stakeholder. It is not impossible. It is up to us to get to number one. It's as simple as that. You know, if we want to get to number one, we will get to number one, but it's not going to come just through rhetorics or, you know, big-headed ideas. It will have to be concrete action. We can have our plans, this is what we want to do, but then it will have to be, and it doesn't cost anything to give journalists freedom to operate, free space to operate. It doesn't cost anything for any government, authorities, and stakeholders to uphold the sanctity of journalism, to respect the rule of law, press free when it comes to press freedom and freedom of expression. It doesn't cost anything. You know, it just goes to complement what the government is doing. So I think it is up to Gambia, and I'm a believer, I'm optimistic, and I'm optimistic that, I don't know when we're going to go number one, but I'm optimistic that, well, cautious optimism, but I'm optimistic that by the time the next index is out, we will be going up. I see no reason why we should go down.
Despite the gain registered, there still remain the draconian laws in our constitution. What is the Gambia Press Union doing to actually fight, to see to it that those laws are abolished and the press freedom that we all are yearning for is actually realized?
So here, the GPU Secretariat, this is the everyday task of every staff. Every day people are holding meetings, people are writing letters, people are inviting stakeholders for meetings, all geared towards putting in a concerted effort, a joint effort and a joint fight in making sure that we do away with these remaining draconian legislations. We engaging the stakeholders, National Assembly members in particular, the ministries, especially the Ministry of Justice and the judiciary, every stakeholder, civil society organizations, day in and day out. If you'll recall that a few years ago, the GPU took a landmark or a high-profile case to the Supreme Court to fight some of those draconian laws. The results, the ruling came. Some were favorable, some we didn't get them the way we would have wanted them. But then it's not going to be the end of the fight. GPU is it's fighting, it's negotiating, it's discussing, it's networking with every stakeholder, you know, every day to make sure that these laws, these pending laws, these draconian and some of these obnoxious laws are out of the way. And we also fighting to make sure that we have in place some laws, you know, that will ease the work of journalists, and that will ease the work of journalists gathering information, treating information, and disseminating information. And this include the FOI, the Freedom of Information, you know, law. And we are hopeful the fight is there. I mean, we're dealing with the government, we're dealing with politicians. Like I said, election year is coming, especially when transparency and accountability issues are at stake. You have a section of the society that wants to safeguard, that wants to protect information from coming out and things like that. And our job is to take this information out, put it out there for public consumption. So there will always be this clash. There will always be this, you know, friction. But then we will not stop. We will continue to do this. Any method, any legal method possible, so that, you know, we can have a freer society and a freer space to operate than we already have. And I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sirif Bojanjino, President Gambia Press Union, for according us this interview. Thank you. Thanks.
TAF Africa Global is pleased to launch Dalaba Housing Estate. Dalaba Housing Estate is our newest estate located on the Sukuta Jabang Road. You can buy a finished 2 or 3 bedroom house or service plots accompanied with a free fence and gate.
Sheriff Bojang Jr., they are the president of the Gambia Press Union, talking to Omar P. Jallow on the significant progress made on the press freedom in the Gambia. Viewers, that's all we have for you today. From me and my team, we thank you so much. Till tomorrow. Bye for now.